In a cave in Siberia, a scientist held a single finger bone, no bigger than a coin. It had been sitting in a drawer, mislabeled for years. Everyone assumed it belonged to an early modern human or maybe a Neanderthal. But when they finally pulled the DNA out of it, the results made no sense. It didn't match us. It didn't match Neanderthals. It didn't match anything on record. It belonged to an entirely unknown kind of human, a whole species of people, revealed by one broken fragment of a pinky. And that discovery forced scientists to admit something strange. For almost all of our history, we were not the only humans on Earth. If you traveled back just 50,000 years, you would not be alone. You would share the planet with several other kinds of human beings, some short and stocky, some tiny, some we've barely even found, and then one by one, every single one of them vanished, leaving only us. So what happened when we met them? And why are we the only ones still here? We think of human as meaning one thing, us. But that is a very recent and very strange situation. Scientists have now identified around 20 different human species across our history. For millions of years, it was completely normal for several to exist at once. Nearly 2 million years ago, at least 3 kinds of humans shared East Africa. This was the default state of humanity. Not one species, but many. When our own species, Homo sapiens, appeared around 300,000 years ago, we were simply one more branch on a very crowded family tree. We were not the main character. We were not destined to win. We were just one type of human among several trying to survive. To understand what we met, we have to meet them too. And the first one is the survivor who outlasted us all. Homo erectus appeared around 2 million years ago. And to understand that number, you have to compare it to us. Everything Homo sapiens has ever done fits into the last 300,000 years. Every city, every war, every word ever spoken. Homo erectus survived for nearly 2 million years. Our entire history is a footnote next to theirs. They were the first humans whose bodies looked truly like ours. Long legs, shorter arms, built for walking and running across open land. They were almost certainly the first humans to walk out of Africa. They spread across Asia into environments they had never evolved for. Their brains were smaller than ours, but far larger than anything before them. And they made a stone hand axe design that barely changed for 1 million years. That sounds like a failure of imagination. But think about it the other way around. Their tools worked so well that there was no reason to change them. How many things in your life will still be useful 1 million years from now? Their last known populations clung on for an incredibly long time. And here's the first open question I want you to hold on to. If Homo erectus was so successful for so unimaginably long, why are they gone? And we are here. Hold that thought. We'll come back to it. Now let's meet the most famous of our lost cousins, the Neanderthals. And almost everything you picture about them is wrong. For a century, they were the cartoon caveman, a stupid, brutish, hunched. That image was never true, and it gets more wrong every year. Neanderthals were built like nothing alive today. Compact and immensely powerful, with wide chests and thick, dense bones. Their faces had heavy brows and large noses that warmed freezing air before it hit their lungs. Their brains were, on average, slightly larger than ours. They hunted enormous, dangerous animals at close range with thrusting spears. Their skeletons show the same injury patterns as modern rodeo riders. They controlled fire, they made glue, they made tools we struggle to replicate. There is strong evidence they cared for their sick and buried their dead. They lived across Europe and Western Asia for over 300,000 years. This was not a failed species. This was a triumphant one. And then around 45,000 years ago, we arrived in their world. So picture that first encounter. A group of Homo sapiens newly arrived from the south crests a ridge, and down in the valley they see people. People who walk like them, use fire like them, hunt like them, but who are shorter, broader, stronger, with heavy brows and pale skin. 2 different kinds of human looking at each other across a valley. Neither one had ever seen anything quite like the other. We don't know if that first meeting was violence or curiosity or fear. It was probably all 3 in different places at different times, but we know one thing for certain, that they did. Because it is still written inside your body right now. They had children together. This is not a theory. It is chemistry. In 2010, a team led by the scientist Svante Pääbo did the impossible. They rebuilt the entire Neanderthal genome from ancient bones, and they compared it to living people all over the world. The result won Pääbo the Nobel Prize and rewrote human history. If your ancestry is from outside Africa, you carry roughly 2% Neanderthal DNA right now in your cells as you watch this. The Neanderthals are not entirely gone. A small piece of them survived inside us, and if that fact just gave you chills, take a second and hit the like button. It really helps. But the Neanderthals were only the beginning. Remember that finger bone from the very start of this video? That was found in Denisova cave in the mountains of Siberia, and the people it belonged to are now called the Denisovans. They are the strangest human species we know of because we can barely see them. For years, they were known almost entirely from DNA. A finger bone, a few teeth, a piece of jaw found high on the Tibetan plateau, a whole kind of human reduced to a handful of fragments, and yet their genetic shadow is enormous. Denisovan DNA appears across Asia and the Pacific today. Some populations in Melanesia and New Guinea carry as much as 5%, and here is where it stops being trivia and starts to matter. Modern Tibetans carry a Denisovan gene called EPAS1. It lets their bodies survive at extreme altitude where yours would begin to fail. Think about what that means. A species we can barely find in the ground is still keeping living humans alive on the roof of the world. They met our ancestors, they had children with them, and they handed us a survival tool we still use today. For decades, the Denisovans had no face. We had their DNA, but almost none of their bones. We knew they existed, but we had no idea what they looked like. And then in 2025, that finally changed. Scientists re-examined a massive, strange skull found in China. It had once been given its own species name, Homo longi, or Dragon Man. But new analysis of the skull matched it to Denisovan DNA. Suddenly, the ghost had a face, a wide, powerful skull with a huge brain case and a heavy brow. After years of knowing them only as code, we could finally look at them. This is how fast this science is moving. A species that was invisible a decade ago is now staring back at us, and it makes you wonder how many more faces are still hidden in museum drawers. Now the story gets even stranger and it moves to the islands. On the Indonesian island of Flores, researchers found something impossible. A human species that stood barely 1 meter tall, with a brain about the size of a grapefruit. They nicknamed them the Hobbits. Their real name is Homo floresiensis. At first, scientists refused to believe it. Surely these were just sick modern humans. But more bones came, and the truth held this was a separate species. They lived on Flores alongside dwarf elephants and giant storks. Because islands do strange things to the creatures trapped on them. Isolated for long enough, big animals shrink and small animals grow. And on Flores, even humans got smaller. Nearby, in a cave in the Philippines, we found another one. Homo luzonensis, another tiny isolated island species known from just a few bones. And back in South Africa, yet another, Homo naledi, small-brained but who may have deliberately placed their dead deep inside a cave. The planet was absolutely full of different kinds of people. But here I have to be honest with you because the truth matters more than a clean story. We know for certain we met the Neanderthals and the Denisovans. Their DNA is inside us. That is proof we stood in the same place and had families. But the tiny island species, the hobbits, and the others, we are genuinely not sure our ancestors ever laid eyes on them. Their bones and ours overlap in time, but they were separated by vast distances and open sea. As one researcher put it, the evidence points to us likely just missing each other, so we can't say we shook hands with every lost human species. Some of them we may have passed like ships in the night, never knowing, but the ones we did meet, we absorbed. And that leads to the biggest question of all. Between about 40 and 30,000 years ago, they all disappeared. Every other kind of human gone. And for the first time, our species was completely alone. So why us? The easy answer is that we were smarter, but that answer falls apart instantly. Neanderthals had bigger brains than we do. Denisovans conquered altitudes that would kill you. Homo erectus survived nearly 10 times longer than we have so far. Intelligence alone cannot be the reason we won. So scientists look at something harder to measure. It may come down to connection. Homo sapiens didn't just live in groups. We built networks between groups. Tools, ideas, and knowledge traveled between distant communities. When one band hit a crisis, the knowledge to survive had already spread elsewhere. Neanderthals lived in smaller, more isolated groups with very low genetic diversity. When the climate lurched, and it lurched violently and often, our wide, connected web could bend and adapt without breaking. Their smaller, separate threads simply snapped one by one. We may not have won because we were smarter. We may have won because we were better connected. But even that is only part of the answer, and the rest of it is uncomfortable because it wasn't one clean event. There was no single war, no single moment. It was slower and messier and sadder than that. In many places, we simply outcompeted them for the same food and the same land. We had slightly larger groups, slightly wider networks, slightly better odds, and over thousands of years, slightly better odds is all it takes. Their numbers thinned, their groups fragmented, their diversity collapsed. And some of them didn't vanish so much as dissolve into us, absorbed, generation by generation, until only their DNA was left. We didn't necessarily defeat them. In many cases, we simply outlasted them and carried a piece of them onward. Luck, geography, timing, and numbers all played their part. We were not destined to be the last ones standing. We just happened to be the ones who were. So the next time you look in a mirror, look a little closer. That brow, that build, some tiny fraction of it may be Neanderthal. If your family survived at high altitude, thank a Denisovan you'll never meet. You are not the last pure survivor of a race that beat all the others. You are a blend, a patchwork of every human that came before, the last twig of a branch that was once covered in others. For almost all of human history, being human meant looking across a valley and seeing someone who was almost, but not quite like you. We are the only ones who remember that world now, and we only remember it because of a finger bone in a drawer. Every other kind of human is silent. They left us their tools, their bones, and a few % of our own DNA, and then they were gone. And we inherited the entire planet by default. We were never the only humans. We were just the ones who were left to tell the story. And maybe that's the loneliest fact in all of science. We finally became the smartest thing on Earth, only after every other mind like ours had already gone quiet. We didn't rise to the top of a ladder. We were left standing in an empty room. So tell me in the comments, does it comfort you or unsettle you that we were once not alone? And if you want more of the story that made you who you are, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.